Dad thought it would be a great idea to take his somewhat annoying and unruly son on walking and camping holidays. And on our walks around the Lake District, Forest of Dean or South West Coast Path, we talked a lot. Well, no, I talked a lot, he listened. But the routes we took, he'd always meticulously planned, and he was mad keen on maps, you've seen this. And he would meticulously plan those routes, he'd show me his route planning, and it struck me how often that he would steer away from the most popular or predictable routes sometimes, and actually choose a different path, choose his own path. Still a safe path, still a well-trodden path, nothing out of the ordinary, but just beyond what you might expect. But paths which he judged would safely give us the best experience within our capabilities. And that was typical of him. By carefully choosing his own path, he enabled us to have new experiences, to find something new. Now at this point, he would want to tell you the story of my first mountain climb as a child, when at the top of a windy, rainy summit, while eating our packed lunch, my brand new, quite expensive cookeroo blew away, and he had to scramble halfway down sheer cliff face to retrieve it. He would always tell that story. Always. I would roll my eyes. As a teenager, when I was a teenager, he encouraged me to take up the clarinet. And when the school music teachers proved to be unreliable, the music service was going through transformations, he took it upon himself to teach me and took me straight to grade 5, and that again was typical. During this period, he'd occasionally help out at church with Christmas carols or developing a new music group at the church, but he staunchly resisted actually becoming part of the church or professing any kind of faith at that stage, probably because his own childhood and teenage experiences had left him somewhat disillusioned and with organised religion. Now, anyone who told you what you should and shouldn't believe had no time for that. To me, from my perspective, this middle period of his life seemed somewhat chaotic, with many changes of job and direction and geographical location. Reflecting on this, it seems to me that he was perhaps searching for lasting contentment, meaning and purpose. But for whatever reason, these things always just seemed to be beyond reach for him. And if the story had finished there, it would have been very sad, because he would have been somewhat unfulfilled and frustrated by this point. But it didn't end there. Following their move to the Highlands, the relative stability of the work there, my mum's kind of midlife crisis and call to ministry, he was then able to retire. And this, I think, was the catalyst for him to rediscover his passions and actually indulge them to the full, taking up his violin again, which had been pretty much untouched for decades. And he threw himself into the orchestra, ensembles with friends, teaching at U3A, summer music schools, music societies and clubs. He discovered the joy of gardening, and he continued to develop his skills in nurturing church music. The music groups here, as we've heard this morning, are the instrumentalists that he's nurtured. He's always been adept at identifying and drawing out someone's latent abilities, patiently helping them to find joy in newfound skills. And following his heart attack and subsequent surgery a couple of years ago, he and I once again had some good conversations. And it seems that this episode had provided him with a moment of clarity, culminating in his own out-of-body experience, which some of you may have heard him relate, during which a heavenly voice had clearly told him, "It's not your time yet. There's more I've got for you to do." And having by this time already professed his own faith and ministry as a church elder, he thought that this meant he was supposed to engage with more music and and more church stuff. And of course, he did throw himself back into those tasks very readily, wholeheartedly. Following his incurable cancer diagnosis and subsequent health deterioration, he and I reflected in a phone call once about this. And I remember saying to him, maybe this journey with this disease, this illness, maybe this journey is a big part of the war that you've got to do. And he said, yes, perhaps it is. And I believe that it's a journey he's made very well. Because he undertook this last journey with such calm and such peace. Yes, with some anger and sadness and worry. Let's not pretend it was all warm fuzzies. But really with no hint of the lostness and the chaos of the earlier years. My father in his last years and months and weeks was clearly someone who, by taking a path he'd chosen for himself, had truly found something new, something precious and immutable. The encouraging, kind gentleman had found his lasting contentment and completed his journey. As a family, myself, Sheila, Tim, Josie and Chris have all admired and looked up to Dad's encyclopedic brain. And really, for the most part, we've not inherited that. And his love and appreciation of music, deep, profound appreciation of music. You know, that music we had just now, it has, yes, it stirs up emotions, but it's more than emotions, it's a spirituality, isn't it? It plumbs the depths of our soul and draws them out of us. And we are not alone. It's become so clear that there are now so many people he's patiently nurtured and encouraged, who are now living echoes of him. Thank you, Dad, for showing us how to journey well on a path that you've chosen. And thank you for your kindness and encouragement. Go now with God.